I am so tired of self-development. I'm so tired of that world. And I understand how, in many ways, hypocritical this is, because a lot of things that I talk about on my channel are just that, self-development. But what I'm realizing is that at some point, you live. At some point, you're just experiencing life. And yes, it's important to pull pieces of yourself in and observe yourself, but also live. We are so obsessed with glamorizing trauma, just trauma in general. We categorize ourselves and we put ourselves under these subtitles and under these labels. And I used to do this, but what I found is that it leads to nowhere. And then what ends up happening is you're just puffing yourself with labels because somehow you think that that's going to free you or liberate you. But what's going to free you and liberate you is living and doing life. I am speaking on behalf of myself. It became another form of enslavement. It became another form of confinement. It became another form of a cage, an actual cage of, oh, it's my hypervigilance, or oh, it's my PTSD, or oh, it's my complex trauma, or oh, it's my inner masculine or my inner feminine, or all of these labels. What if it's just you being a human? What if that's what's happening? What if it's you living in bone and flesh? Because if we want to get down to the itty bitty nitty gritty, it is so hard to accept and love yourself just as you are. And in many ways, when you start putting all of these labels and compounding them onto one another, it then causes you, whether it's intentional or not, to disassociate from your body, from this vessel, from this temple that you live inside of, because then you're able to put a label on it. And when you put a label on it, you can categorize it. And when you categorize it, you can shelf it. And really, my question to you is, how much is that helping you? How much is that adding to your vivacious, sinking your teeth into experience of life? I would wager that if you're being honest, and if I'm being honest, I will be honest, it has not added to my life. It has extracted medicine from my life. It's made my life a lot more complicated. It's made my life a lot more sterile. It's made it a lot more suffocating and boxy. And I ended up getting to a point where I can't do the self-development anymore. And this doesn't mean that I'm no longer doing self-growth, but now the growth that I'm fueling is the art of being a human and creating and getting lost in creating things, whether it's videos or it's painting or it's singing, it's music, all of these things, because life is meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be savored. When all that we're doing is psychologicalizing ourselves, and that's not a word, I just made it up. When all we're doing is that, you're not enjoying life. You're just labeling everything. And as somebody who was very much into statistics and proof and evidence and labels, what ended up happening is those things became my demise. You don't need to necessarily label everything in order to be able to heal from it. So when you look at a child and let's say that they fell off of their stool and they hit their head, in order for that child to heal, to tell them that they now have PTS because they fell and now they're afraid of falling, it's not going to help them heal. What helps them heal is allowing them to go through the contractions of that experience, crying it out, of screaming, of being soothed, wiping their tears away, of witnessing what they're going through, of holding them while they're going through it. That's what helps them heal. Being a part of that world so deeply and then leaving that world and now looking at it retrospectively, I'm so aware of how much it doesn't help. and how much the labels, essentially you think that if you label it, you think that if you know more about it, it's helping you heal, but it's not. What helps you heal is living. What helps you heal is witnessing and feeling it, and not just feeling the pieces that feel good, but feeling everything. Because if you want to have it all, then that will require you to feel it all. Because your body is your biggest barometer. Your body is your coordinator. I just don't think that we're meant to live our lives constantly self-developing. I don't believe that. I'm not saying that psychology doesn't serve its purpose. I'm not saying that these things aren't important. I'm not saying that they haven't added to helping us make sense of the world. The issue that I take is the obsession with it and having these guards up in your mind of, oh, I can't do that because of this. I can't do that because of that. I can't do that because of this. And why can't you? And making the decision to live, making the decision to allow yourself to experience all of the varying colors of being in this skin and bone. And so I really just want to encourage you to be okay with being a human, to be okay with experiencing all of the emotions, all of the varying degrees that are comfortable, beautiful, uncomfortable. There's nothing wrong with you. This is what it means to be a human. And because we've become so isolated, because we've become so rehearsed in the labels of things, we then think that if we're experiencing something that isn't necessarily a good feeling, there must be something wrong with us. If you are in a public place and somebody is screaming vile, defamatory things in your face and you shut down, that's a normal human response. We don't have to give it a label. We don't have to call it fight, flight, freeze. We don't have to say any of that. Do you see the difference? So I just explained that this was normal for you to be experiencing this, but I don't need to get out the book of psychology or psychiatry and show you all of these statistics, all of these studies, all of these labels of, well, the reason why that was happening to your body is because your nervous system was shutting down because you were going into fight, flight, freeze response. And the reason why you went into fight, flight, like, it's not necessary. What is necessary, or what would be necessary, is for me to tell you that that's a normal response, for me to tell you that there's nothing wrong with you, giving you active, proper, applicable things that you can do to help support and nourish your body so that your body can come out of that and not keep it trapped in there. A lot of the time with these labels, it ends up keeping you in this loop. That has been my experience. And obviously my experience is not going to be your experience. After doing all of the courses, reading all of the books, knowing all of these labels, they have not added to my freedom. They have extracted my freedom. They have extracted the deliciousness of experiencing life. They've kept my mind in a loop because my mind just loops on, oh, it's PTS, complex PTS, it's anxiety, it's depression, it's loneliness, it's hypervigilance. I even remember when I went to my therapist, one of the first meetings that I had, I said, I do not want you to tell me what it is that I have. I don't want to know the label. I don't want to know what you're having to classify me as in my portfolio or in my file. The only time that I will make an exception for this is if you're going to get fired and you have to tell me. Otherwise, I don't want to know. Because I knew and I know it is not necessary for me to know. It doesn't benefit us to know all of the labels. It just doesn't. Take it from somebody who went through that massive phase of label, 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 consume, consume, consume. This is that, that's this, oh, that's that, that's a little bit of that. And then looking back on it retrospectively, I wish that somebody came alongside me and told me, you don't need to know all of this. You don't need to know the labels. You don't need to know what everything means. Here's what you can do to help support your body. Here's what you can do to help bring life back into your life. Here's what you can do to help bring life back into your body. That's what I wish I knew. But I wish I didn't learn all of these things because now I'm having to unlearn and parent my mind to stop looping in all of the labels. I hope that this was beneficial for you. I hope that it inspired you. As always, you are worthy of living a beautiful life, and I believe in you. And I will see you in my next video. I'll be here with my espresso. It's all sweaty now, but cheers.